The moment unfolds with intensity. The crowd, having listened to Paul recount his calling and commission, suddenly reaches its breaking point. At the mention of his mission to the Gentiles, their tolerance vanishes. Voices rise, garments are thrown into the air, dust fills the atmosphere, and a cry erupts. Away with such a fellow from the earth, for he is not fit to live. What had stirred them was not merely Paul himself, but the implication of a boundary being dissolved. An order they had long held as fixed, now shown to be passing away. The reaction reveals more than anger. It exposes the tension between two worlds. One world was rooted in distinction, Jew and Gentile, clean and unclean, near and far. The other, now being revealed, declared that such divisions had reached their appointed end. The covenantal structure that once defined identity was giving way to something greater, something fulfilled. The inclusion of the nations was not an afterthought, but the unveiling of what had been anticipated all along. In response to the uproar, Paul is taken by the Roman authorities and brought into the barracks. The commander, unable to discern the cause of such chaos, orders that Paul be examined by scourging. This method, common in Roman procedure, was meant to extract truth through suffering. Yet before the lash falls, a striking interruption occurs. Paul speaks, not in defiance, but with precision. Is it lawful for you to scourge a man who is a Roman and uncondemned? This question halts everything. The centurion, recognizing the gravity of the claim, reports it to the commander. The entire situation shifts in an instant. What moments before seemed like a routine disciplinary action now becomes a matter of legal danger. Roman citizenship carried weight, privilege, and protection. To violate it unlawfully was to place oneself under serious consequence. The commander approaches Paul and asks directly, "Pardon?" Paul answers simply, "Yes." The commander responds by noting the great price he paid to obtain such citizenship, but Paul reveals that his was not purchased, it was his by birth. Here, two forms of standing are set side by side. One is acquired through effort, cost, and transaction. The other is inherent, granted apart from striving. Paul's position did not come through his own attainment. It was his from the beginning. This distinction quietly mirrors a greater reality unfolding in the message he carried. As those who were about to examine him withdraw immediately, fear replaces aggression. The commander himself becomes uneasy, realizing he had already bound a Roman citizen. The power dynamics reverse. Authority, which seemed absolute moments before, is now restrained by a higher order. This passage reveals layers of transition. On the surface, it is a legal and historical moment. Beneath that, it reflects the passing of one covenantal structure and the emergence of another. The outrage of the crowd was rooted in the perceived violation of their identity markers. Yet those markers were always temporary, designed to point beyond themselves. Paul stands as a figure within this transition, rejected by those who clung to the old distinctions, yet protected within the broader framework of a different authority. He embodies the shift taking place. His Roman citizenship, unearned and inherent, serves as a shadow of a greater standing, one not secured by human effort, but given. The fear that grips the commander and those with him underscores the seriousness of identity within their system. But even that system, with all its power, exists within a larger unfolding purpose. The authority of Rome could restrain injustice in this moment, yet it too was part of a world that was moving toward its appointed conclusion. The crowd's cry for removal, the commander's confusion, the halted scourging, and the revelation of Paul's status all converge to show a moment where certainty collapses. What was once unquestioned is now challenged. What was once hidden is now revealed. And in the center stands a man whose message declared that the dividing lines had been fulfilled, that what once separated had reached its end, and that a new reality, unbound by the former distinctions, had come fully into view.